Me, what's up, Doc? Bugs Bunny here letting you know that you're watching As the Real Toys with Daniel Saletti.
And welcome once again to As the Real Turns, your place for all things movie and television. And we've got another great show for you, part of our big summer theme this year. But before we go anywhere, let's go to our entertainment update.
This is Ramen Head Media's Dylan Tavishan for your entertainment update. Today's updates include a death, a film, and a series. As I'm sure you've all heard, Hollywood has lost the great James Caan. Caan had a widespread career including The Godfather, Misery, Brian's Song, and Elf. He was 82 years old and will be missed.
Wow, that was weird. Usually guys just, put my name in the jingle bells or something.
Next, say the magic words. Hocus Pocus is getting a sequel. The beloved Halloween classic debuted in 1993 and featured 3 resurrected witches in Salem. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy are back as the Sanderson sisters this September on Disney+. So come, little children, and they'll put a spell on you.
Lock up your children! Yes, Salem, we're back!
The Sanderson sisters. I bet you're looking for the stage.
Always.
Finally, for all you Middle-earth fans, if all the movies and books over the years weren't enough, now you can enjoy earlier adventures with The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. This not only serves as a prequel to the original series, but also to The Hobbit. This precious series will stream on Amazon Prime in September. This has been Ramen Head Media's Dylan Tavishan for your entertainment update. Back to you.
And thank you so much for doing that, Dylan. Yes, Dylan is a long-term friend of mine who has been doing a lot of film, and if you want to check out some really creepy and experimental and just flat-out weird stuff, check out Ramen Head Media on YouTube. There's some really cool stuff there. So, once again, like I said, we are doing part 2 of our big theme this summer. It is banned 60 years this year officially, filled with entertainment, wonderful locations, wonderful gadgets, and wonderful girls. Yes, of course, we're talking about part 2 of James Bond 007. Yes, how can you not love James Bond? It is, once again, it's, the official franchise, the Eon Productions franchise, like we talked about in part 1, has spanned 60 years this year, so it's pretty cool to see that. And if you haven't seen part 1 of our James Bond summer series, check out part 1, which is all about Sean Connery and George Lazenby. Now, We're going to be talking about, as you saw there, the third and the fourth Bond, Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton. And we have the same guy who we talked about Connery and Lazenby with from last time. We have my good friend, Christy Riley, who is a big Bond fan and who actually knows about the Bond franchise. So thank you for joining us, Christy.
Glad to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So you were here when we talked about Connery and Lazenby, and we talked about how Connery kind of began the role, cemented the role, and kind of produced a template for all the actors to follow. We then got Lazenby's one and only Bond film after Connery stopped the first time. You had some words to say about that, and many did as well. But I do, and then Connery came back after that. But I do want to say, check out Connery and Lazenby's films. Some are good, some are passable, but you know what? Hey, it's James Bond. You can't argue with it all the time. So after Connery left for the second time, after 1971's Diamonds Are Forever, which some people were mixed on because of how haphazardly it was put together, they couldn't get Lazenby back, so they were out. So producers Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, Eon, United Artists, MGM, all those people were off to find a new Bond. And they settled on a TV star from a show called The Saint. And they settled on a guy named Roger Moore. And Roger Moore then said, okay, and made his Bond debut in 1973's Live and Let Die. So yes, Live and Let Die. I also first want to state here that we're going to be talking about Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton. So Roger Moore is my personal favorite Bond. He is the man that I always see, think, and know when I think James Bond. But let's talk Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die is Moore's debut as Bond, and it's about basically how Bond infiltrates a black, drug dealing crime ring that also has a voodoo tarot theme as well. And along with Roger Moore, we have Yaphet Kotto, famous for Aliens fame. And making her film debut is brand new Bond girl, Jane Seymour. Yes, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. The other thing about this film is, as we watch the trailer here, there it is right there. We have the theme song done by Paul McCartney and Wings, Live and Let Die. I want to make it a staple here that the song Live and Let Die is not from Shrek 3. It is instead from the Bond film, Live and Let Die. Look it up. Come on. Anyway, there's a lot of different things in this movie. You can definitely tell it's a different vibe with Roger Moore here. We have a brand new Kickin' Bond theme with the song. Beautiful Bond girl with Jane Seymour. And a different vibe altogether. It's a little long with some boat chases here and there. An awesome bus chase as well. And then also it's just, it's not Connery, it's not Lazenby, because Roger Moore is delivering his own sense of Bond in the form of some humor here. So with all that, as we watch the trailer here, Christy, tell us about Roger Moore and Live and Let Die.
Roger Moore, objectively the second worst James Bond
Ouch.
of all time.
Ouch.
I give him credit. He rolled with it for too long, is what I'll say.
Fair enough point.
I will say, Live and Let Die. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but J.W. Pepper, he was pretty.
There he is.
He was very funny. If not, probably would not fly today.
No.
He also, I also love Yaphet Kotto in this. I love him in whatever he does. He just passed away, God bless his soul, but I've seen him in plenty of stuff. Alien, this was the first movie I saw him in.
Yeah.
He was excellent in Midnight Run, and he, of course, was excellent in the Homicide TV show. He's great in that, and he's always, it's hard to see him so young. He was I think he's the youngest main Bond villain.
Is he really?
And he was in his early 30s, and he was also the first black Bond villain.
Yes, that's true. Having, the idea of an all-black villain cast, that's different. We'd never seen that before, and I kind of like that. And, the idea of having we know James Bond about now. We have spies and voodoo and tarot things, because that's what Jane Seymour was. She was a tarot card reader.
Yeah, the Bond should never have a supernatural theme. That's a big no. This is the only one to have a supernatural theme, and I think it's a weak Bond film overall. I didn't mind it too much. I mean, there's significantly much worse out there, but overall.
Black Queen on the Red King, Miss.
Solitaire.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
I know who you are, what you are, and why you have come. You have made a mistake. You will not succeed.
Rather a sweeping statement, considering we've never met. Oh, fascinating. Well, that's you, quite obviously. An amazing resemblance. Tell me, am I in there as well?
Pick a card. Turn it over. You have found yourself.
You turn Mr. Big into a literal balloon at the end.
Yes,
no.
the shark capsule.
You know, that just, like, you look at him and you're like, okay, that's a balloon. That's not a person. I mean, limitations of the time, but still.
That's between Solitaire, myself, and Kananga. I'll tell him when I see him.
You ain't gonna see the sunlight unless you answer me.
I had no idea you were so frightened of him.
Did you touch her?
When I see Kananga.
Right.
Quite revealing. Did have an inflated opinion of himself.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really good scenes in this. I mean, I like that final fight scene. There's a scene at an alligator farm where Bond has to run across alligators' backs, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Great train scenes with one of the henchmen known as Teehee. He has a mechanical arm.
Mr. Bond, it's good to see you again.
Well, that wasn't very funny. Now what are you doing?
Just being disarming, darling.
And then, honestly, one of my favorite Bond henchmen of all time, Baron Samedi, played by Jeffrey Holder from the 7-Up commercials. That laugh, you know, say what you want. Any of the Jokers from Batman, any villain you can think of. This guy, Jeffrey Holder, has one of the best evil laughs I've ever heard.
Very deep.
Ever heard. I mean, if you want to get a chance to check out a good Bond film, it's different. Yeah, the supernatural theme is weird, I'll grant you that. but there's a lot of fun lines, and don't be fooled. You're not seeing Q for a reason, because in the Fleming book, Q was out of it. So they said, Desmond, take a hike for this one. Oh well, but that's okay. But yeah, check out Live and Let Die. Really fun stuff.
I think one of the reasons they actually also didn't have Q in it, because I think it had less to do with the books, because they, especially back in these days, these are some of the Bond films were some of the worst book adaptations of all time.
Fleming is long dead by 1973.
Oh yeah, he'd been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think it was also said in an interview that they wanted to kind of take the emphasis off of gadgets in the movie, which honestly, that's honestly what makes Bond awesome. So I like Q.
I'm a gadget guy. Yeah, I'm a gadget guy. I mean, Bond still has the magnetic watch, I believe it is, in this film.
I think so.
Yeah, but that's okay. Yeah, Live and Let Die. Give it a chance. Give it a watch. I think it's a good one. And giving this as Roger's debut, not too bad.
But if this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give in and cry, say live and let die.
There's one thing in this world that I like better than a corned beef and rye. It's chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie.
Roger did have a different approach to Bond. I mean, he looks slightly different, a slightly lighter shade of hair. Many people, like my mother, find him very attractive. And he was funnier. So when it came time for his second outing as James Bond, the producers said, we want you to tone it down a little bit and be more like Connery. Okay. So this is where we get 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun. So The Man with the Golden Gun has a lot running on it because, you know, you have a new Bond doing a second film, unlike Lazenby. And like I said, they want him to do it more like Connery. They want him to play it straighter. And, you know, I don't know. I don't even know if the film needed him to play it more straight, but what we have here is this ultimate match for Bond. I mean, this guy has a golden gun, and he can shoot anybody at any range and get him like that. And this villain is played by Christopher Lee, who is a relative of Fleming. Yep. So that's pretty cool. We also have a couple different Bond girls here. We have Maud Adams making her first Bond girl debut. And then we also have Britt Eklund in this film with again, one of those classic Bond girl names, Mary Goodnight. I love that name. There she is. So, that being said, even though it's played more straight, I mean, we saw there in the trailer, Roger's kind of hitting Maud Adams like Connery. How do we feel about Man with the Golden Gun? Do you think they needed Roger to tone it down, or do you think he just should have stayed the way people know and love him as?
She should have toned it down, not just for this film, but for all of them. I mean, Connery was it's okay to make it your own thing, your own person. It's okay to make your own character with Bond, except Moore was way too over the top. It was too screwball comedy, and Man with the Golden Gun, though, I think it's a criminally underrated Bond. I mean, you get J.W. Pepper back.
J.W. Pepper's there.
I like that. I mean, Britt Eklund's beautiful.
She is.
love, and of course Christopher Lee I think Christopher Lee was born to be a Bond villain.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he is excellent, and I mean, I'll be honest, the third nipple is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
that's right. He has a third nipple.
overall, I mean, this is much better than Live and Let Die. However, it's not saying much. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I find this being the Roger Moore film that I watched the least, just because I feel like I'm watching a different actor. They've really made him different, and also, yeah, we have I'm gonna say his name wrong. Hervé Villechaize. I always say his name wrong. Famous from Fantasy Island in this film as well, for playing Knick Knack. Absolutely. So yeah, no, Man with the Golden Gun, it does seem weaker to me. You say it's underrated, so maybe it's just different strokes for different folks.
Personally, I like it a lot more than Live and Let Die, because Live and Let Die was too slow. I liked Man with the Golden Gun, you know, interesting plot, and overall, I mean, I liked it. It was interesting, and it's been years since I've seen all the Bond films, so this one I have fond memories of.
You know...
Oh, you're hurting my arm.
I'll break it unless you tell me where those bullets go.
No, I can't.
Try.
They'll kill me.
Who?
Ah! I can't tell you. Ah. Go, my God.
You see what you can do when you try?
This is another thing. In Live and Let Die, we have the music done by a composer named George Martin, but in this one we have the return of John Barry, longtime Bond composer. So music is always a great thing when it comes to James Bond.
That's second to none, the man with the golden gun. Good night, sleep well, my dear. No need to fear, James Bond is here.
So Man with the Golden Gun, if you want to check it out, definitely check that out. But if you've seen any of the other Roger Moore films before this one, keep in mind it's a little different because, well, they just told him to do different stuff.
Still check it out.
Yeah, still check it out.
Yeah.
It'll be on the auxiliary feedback circuit.
Computer, interlock, is that it?
Just push every damn button, will you?
Oh yeah, and also with Man with the Golden Gun, and here we say goodbye to Harry Saltzman.
That's right, and that's a good segue. Yeah. So after Man with the Golden Gun, Harry Saltzman leaves the Bond franchise. He just sells his half, and Broccoli decides just, okay, it's mine now. Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think Saltzman went to Broadway.
Oh, is that it? I did not know that. So... that. So, with Broccoli being the sole producer now of James Bond, I mean, he has other ones like Michael G. Wilson and his daughter eventually, Barbara Broccoli. He says, okay, let's do the next one, and let's bring Roger back to the way that he was in Live and Let Die, or even a tad more. Enter 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me. Now, this is the time where, and you're hearing here in the trailer, one of the best renditions of the Bond theme, Bond 77, done by Marvin Hamlish, like a disco vibe, very cool. This is the film where, this is like, they say, this is Roger Moore's magnum opus. This is the best one he's ever done. He looks great. The plot is great. Everything's great about it. Fair enough points. I like this movie a lot. So what happens in it is we have this villain here played by Kurt Jurgens, and basically he has this underwater city he wants to do. He kind of wants to make like massive earthquakes or something like that. It can get a little confusing on what he wants to do. But the major thing about this film is we have Bond, a British secret agent, working with Anya, who is a Russian Secret Service agent. And she's played by the beautiful Barbara Bach. And basically the film centers around how they work together and how they work together. And here, of course, you have one of the most famous moments in all of Bondom, the underwater car. That's an all-time classic. And I think 3, 2, 1, there he is, the introduction of one of the classic henchmen, Jaws, a giant man who has metal teeth. So as we watch the trailer here, Christy, do you think this is Roger's magnum opus? Is it really as good as people make it out to be, or is it just, oh, yeah, it's a good flick?
It's good, but it's not, I mean, I think there's better, more films. I mean, this one's good. I mean, back from what I probably just have to watch it again, but
yeah.
I will say this, Ringo, you're a lucky man.
Yes, Ringo Starr, the Beatle, is married to Barbara Bach.
Yeah, and also Jaws, I mean, you guys couldn't really see it very much in the trailer, but if you look at his hand on Roger Moore's like neck, his hand is giant.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, he's one of those giantism guys who, and he was massive. He's massive. Yeah, he's right up there, you know, with like character, like Lurch and.
He's bigger than Lurch.
He's bigger than Lurch, but you know, people like that who have that disease. So it's, but no, I like this movie. I think it's. Again, it's a different feel, because I think now that Broccoli's the sole producer, it feels different. I get a different vibe from Live and Let Die, Man with a Golden Gun, and this.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I get a little disappointed, because Spy Who Loved Me has the villain blowing up the top of the world and then making a brand new underwater.
Yeah, the underwater city. Yeah.
And here's the problem. From this point, what?
He's a weak villain.
Well, it's not that, for me at least, because I can't really remember. But from this point on, the rest, this is why I'm very critical of Roger Moore. Every plot afterward is copy and pasted. It is villain is going to destroy the world. Now Bond has to save the day.
Yes, sir.
The lady'll have a Bacardi on the rocks.
For the gentleman, vodka martini, shaken, not stirred.
Touche.
Commander James Bond, recruited to the British Secret Service from the Royal Navy, licensed to kill, and has done so on numerous occasions. Many lady friends, but married only once. Wife killed.
All right, you've made your point.
You're sensitive, Mr. Bond.
About certain things, yes.
We have entered a new era of Anglo-Soviet cooperation. And as a sign of Russian good faith, I'm prepared to make available to you the microfilm recovered by Agent XXX.
Don't bother with it, then. It's useless.
But, you know, honestly, that's what every parody does as well. You know, villain destroys world, Bond saves the day. You know, a lot of people do that. Sometimes up and down, but again, there are some great aspects, like Barbara Bach is beautiful, great theme song.
Baby, you're the best. I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I tried to hide from your love, but like heaven above me, the spy who loved me is keeping all my secrets safe tonight. There's rabbit and piglet and there's owl, but most of all Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Tubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff. He's Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Willy-nilly silly old bear.
Spy Who Loved Me, if you want to check that film out, by all means do. And I mean, you're gonna love it because, hey, Jaws! Look at those metal teeth. This is adorable.
So vigilant, so near him that he gave me his face, my own. I am a pharaoh's companion, and I am he, the pharaoh. This is the tomb of Cheops.
So, 1977, you think about a couple things in that year, in entertainment-wise. One, you think of Spy Who Loved Me, ding. Two, you think of the death of Elvis. Now, The Spy Who Loved Me actually was the last film that Elvis saw, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Because he passed on another big film from that year, a little project called Now, Star Wars was so huge that everybody wanted a piece of it. And so, a couple years later, 1979, that was what I call the year of the sci-fi strike back. We get the start of a big franchise called Alien. That's pretty big from what I've heard. We get one sci-fi franchise's film debut, Star Trek The Motion Picture. We all know how that went well. And At the end of The Spy Who Loved Me, they said, we'll see you in For Your Eyes Only, but no, they wanted a bite of the sci-fi bug as well. So they decided to deliver, and they decided to give us Moonraker. So I'm going to say it out right now, and I want to make this perfectly clear to everybody. Moonraker is not what you think. It is not just those 4 forbidden words, James Bond in space. It's not, because although the plot centers around that, I'd probably dare say 75% of the film takes place on Earth. We have some great shots featuring a glass factory in Italy. We have some awesome scenes here shot in Rio de Janeiro. And as you can see, we have the return of Jaws because he was so popular in Spy Who Loved Me. We also have one of the best and most beautiful Bond girls, in my opinion, Lois Chiles as Holly Goodhead. And as you'll see in the trailer, we have a great villain, given the dialogue and plot he was given. Hugo Drax, played by Michael Lonsdale. So, a lot of cool things in this film. A pretty good John Barry score, actually one of his praised ones for the space scenes. And, okay, yeah, is the main idea to have a villain create a super race in space? Yes, but Christy, as we watch the trailer here, is Moonraker that bad? Is it really just James Bond in space?
Yep.
Or is there more to it?
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, even though he's not in space as much, I mean, honestly, I was not a big. I mean, I didn't really like this film. I mean, I thought, you know, again, it's a copy and paste plot. And
obviously, yeah.
On top of that, excuse me. You know, I mean, I like Jaws. I like how he becomes a good guy at the end because, you know, he and his some girl that he ends up shacking up with. She, I mean, they can't be part of the master race because Jaws doesn't have any teeth. He's too tall.
Right, right.
And the girl's got glasses, but
which is weird. And we'll see some really cool shots of those space scenes right here.
And I really liked, but I liked Holly Goodhead. I mean,
yes.
I mean, if I do meet her, I hope that name, you know, lives up.
It's a classic Bond girl name. It really is.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I think the biggest problem was that they cranked the more cheesiness amp to 11 in this. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous in this, and yeah, it's one of my biggest problems with it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I do agree the scenes where Jaws and his new girlfriend appear, I think it's a little hokey. There's actually like that classic Romeo and Juliet theme even played, and he even talks for the first and only time in the series. Also, another funny musical cue, Bond is riding a horse and they play Magnificent Seven. I just think that's kind of clever. But yeah, no, a lot of things do get kind of silly in this movie. You can clearly see the Star Wars influence, even with like laser beam. Wow. But yeah, no, a lot of people team this up with The Spy Who Loved Me because they say, again, Roger looks great, the plot is fun, the villain is interesting, the girl is beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
Is that now he's in his 50s, and I mean, I guess he's roughly...
By now? I didn't think by now.
By Moonraker, he's 52.
Oh, okay.
He was about to be 50 in Spy Who Loved Me, but in Moonraker, he's now about 52, so he's around the same age as Connery was in the movie we don't talk about.
Yes.
But
yes.
Which I haven't even seen. But yeah, I mean, overall, so from now on, I mean, after this movie, like once we get into For Your Eyes Only, I'm just gonna start referring to him as Old Boy.
I mean, how can you argue with a classic suit like that? I mean, he never wore this gray space suit in the film, but a lot of production and promotional stuff he did. And he did a lot of promotional stuff, actually, for this film, so that's kind of interesting.
Good afternoon.
Can I help you?
Yes, my name is Bond. James Bond. I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
You just found her.
A woman?
Your powers of observation do you credit, Mr. Bond?
Here, in the untainted cradle of the heavens, will be created a new super race, a race of perfect physical specimens. You have been selected as its progenitors. Like gods, your offspring will return to Earth and shape it in their image.
Play it again, son.
My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
James,
I think it may be time to go home.
take me around the world one more time.
Why not?
Where are you? Why do you hide? Where is that moonlight trail that leads to your side? Just like the moonraker goes in search of his dream of gold.
So yeah, no. Oh well, Roger's gone. He doesn't want to talk about Moonraker either. So what happened was, yeah, people weren't necessarily happy with Moonraker. They were like, what happened here? So literally and figuratively, Broccoli said, we got to pull him down to earth, back down to earth. And they decided to step back and give us a more grounded plot with slightly even darker plot. Good. And thus we actually fulfilled the promise of The Spy Who Loved Me. We got For Your Eyes Only. I went for a long time saying this was my all-time favorite Bond film.
For Your
Why?
Eyes Only.
Because it was that good.
It's Roger Moore as the influence
Roger Moore
James Bond
puts in another great performance. This is, again, I agree, starting in the slightest to show his age. In the slightest. We have another beautiful girl in the form of Melina, played by, I'm going to say it wrong, Carol Bouquet, I think?
Yeah.
And we have, okay, probably the most confusing villain here. Julian Glover, famous from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, playing Christados. And this is also known as that Bond film that has the Greek theme, because there's a lot of Greek things in this film. I say it's confusing because, you know, you think one person's the villain, but oh wait, no, this person's the villain, no wait, now this person's the villain. It gets a little confusing on that end, but the action scenes are fun. The music is great, done by Bill Conti, famous for Rocky, Karate Kid, and North and South fame. And this is also, unfortunately, the first film not to feature M, because unfortunately Bernard Lee did die after the filming of Moonraker, so oh well. But we will fix that in the next film.
Actually, he was supposed to be in For Your Eyes Only, and he actually did, I think, film a scene, but he was so weak that he just said, I can't do this. Like,
Fair enough.
I'm gonna die. Like, I can't film any scenes. I'm sorry, guys.
Fair enough.
He died. shortly after.
Also, interesting fact about this movie, the opening pre-title sequence features, okay, get ready, a man who is in a wheelchair, who has a neck brace, key point, who is bald, and who has a white cat. Now, Christy, would you believe that is not Donald Pleasance, not Telly Savalas, and not even Charles Gray? No, of course not.
I don't even know who it is.
Huh?
I don't even know who it is.
Of course not. Well, here's the thing. That's obviously supposed to be Blofeld, but here's the thing. We actually can't say Blofeld thanks to Mr. Kevin McClory. Thank you, Mr. Kevin McClory. Anyway, let's go back to the plot of For Your Eyes Only. What do you think of For Your Eyes Only?
Really liked it. I mean, honestly, it was like a callback to the older Bonds. I think it was excellent. I mean, Roger Moore is great in this, and also we have in that we have that character.
Oh, BB Doll.
BB Doll. Who?
BB Doll.
It's funny. She's actually younger than the Bond girl by a year, so she looks young, but she's not.
Yeah, and she's actually a real figure skater who went into acting for a little bit, and yeah, she tried to, you know, Bond does this classic thing with every Bond girl in every film, but she forced himself on him, and he's like,
no thanks.
No thanks.
It feels that she's
which
too
I give him credit for. I give him credit for. What do you think of this movie?
Overall, I like it. I mean, it's a callback. The song is excellent.
Yeah, Sheena Easton, yeah.
And you see her on screen, too.
Yes.
And, but unfortunately, tragedy did strike on this film. During one of the sledding scenes, a stuntman did get killed.
Oh, yes, I think I did hear that.
Paolo somebody. He
Yeah.
had some, ethnic name. But
yeah.
But overall, I mean, the Bond girl was good. She was unique. She's not constantly smiling or anything.
And she's a fighter with their crossbow and everything.
Yeah. The thing about it, and this is the biggest problem, I looked at, and you see in the trailer when they're tied up together. And
Yes.
I remember, there's a picture of that I saw somewhere, and she's actually smiling in this picture.
Yes.
I look at this picture, and I'm like, it looks like father and daughter.
Oh, yeah.
So... They're like they could be his kid, except for Maude Adams.
Yeah, and you know, I understand that. You know.
Don't you like me?
Why, I think you're wonderful, Bibi, but I don't think your Uncle Ari would approve.
Him? He thinks I'm still a virgin.
Yes, well, you get your clothes on. I'll buy you an ice cream.
They have an audience to look after. That's the thing. That's the one thing. So.
Нет!
That's détente, comrade. You don't have it. I don't have it.
But yeah, no, I like For Your Eyes Only. There's a lot of great locations. It's actually it's one of those Bond films good to watch in wintertime. There are a lot of winter scenes, I think.
Yeah.
Tu dov'è il casco?
Guarda.
Guarda, c'è un pazzo qua.
But yeah, no, and actually the only Bond film to actually feature sort of Margaret Thatcher.
No kidding.
Well, not herself, but someone playing her. Obviously supposed to be Margaret Thatcher. So yeah, For Your Eyes Only, check it out.
For Your Eyes Only, darling.
One of those great films to come out of 1981, like another big adventure film that we'll talk about in a later episode. Anyway, so yeah, this was during a time where Roger was thinking of retiring the role. He had 5 big films. That's pretty good. But here's the problem. 1983 comes around, and we will talk about this film more in depth in a later episode, but rival company comes around with a rival producer and picks up the very first Bond, Mr. Sean Connery. And they say, we're gonna make a Bond film and it's gonna be great. Well, wasn't that great. So, and Eon Productions was having plans to make their next Bond film. So it became the year called the Battle of the Bonds. And they knew if they wanted to go after Connery, they couldn't recast Bond quite yet. So they said, Roger, would you please come back? We need you to fight off Sean Connery. He said, okay. Thus we got 1983's Octopussy.
I wondered when you might arrive.
So you are the mysterious Octopussy.
And you are James Bond, 007 licensed to kill. Am I to be your target for tonight?
Well, not necessarily.
Now, many people consider this not necessarily maybe Roger's best, but one of the best Bond films out there. A lot of people put it in there and just say, oh, it's a great romp of a Bond film. And yeah, here's where we finally get Roger Moore is James Bond. He's been there so long. So what Octopussy is about is that we have Bond coming in contact with a woman named Octopussy. That is her name. And what she basically is, she runs this traveling circus, and the person that she works with within this circus kind of wants to take over the circus and have a drug deal, and there's a lot of Cold War stuff here with the Russians. Of course, we always have the Russians involved with Bond. I mean, come on. But again, it's a little confusing with that, and she's centered here in India, but the guy's centered in Russia, and he's working with the Russians. It gets a little confusing, but the thing that's unique about this film is that we have an actress who is returning to the role of a Bond girl, just a different character. Maud Adams from The Man with the Golden Gun. She plays Octopussy. Now, what's that?
She gets a promotion.
She gets a promotion, yeah. She doesn't die necessarily. She doesn't die in this one. That's kind of cool. So, Christy, tell us, how do you feel about Octopussy? Is it actually just a fun romp Bond film, as everyone says it is? You know, put it in, have a good time, or are we starting to lose it even more?
This is easily one of. I would say this is. I wish it was Connery. I would say that this is one of Moore's best, if not his best.
Probably,
I really liked Octopussy a lot. I found it very entertaining.
It really is.
And my bad, I should have called him Old Boy. But I mean, I did like the Louis Jordan. He was very good in the.
That's his name. Thank you. Yep.
In the thing, he was good. Actually, he was one of them.
No, that's the henchman. Carmel Khan is the henchman.
Yeah, but it's a very good film. We get one of Bond's partners in this. We get 009 appears briefly in a clown suit.
In a clown suit. And Moore does too. He has to suit up in the clown suit. At the
we see General Gogol again. General Gogol comes back. He's one of the good Soviets.
Yeah, and General Gogol is a recurring frenemy, we'll call him, who's kind of not the leader of the Soviet Union, but one of the high generals of the Soviet Union, and he helps Bond, he doesn't help Bond. He helps Bond, he doesn't help Bond. On and off. No, I mean, this is a really good film. Another great theme song done by Rita Coolidge, All Time High.
We're an all-time high. We'll change all that's gone before, doing so much more than falling in love. On an all-time high, we'll take on the
To be honest, I wasn't a big fan. I thought it was okay. Wasn't a big fan, to be honest.
The first Bond theme not to feature the name of the film.
Yeah.
Understandably, because I think it would be very hard to put the title of the film into a song. But hey, Shirley Bassey did it for Moonraker, so how hard could it possibly be?
Step on it. This should shake them off.
But yeah, no, I personally like Octopussy. I think it's a really fun film, and yeah, no, I think it really does work as one of Moore's good films. Now,
Head him off! Head him off! Sit.
Buddy, come on. Oh, hey, give me some room.
Get back. Thank you. Hey, you all right, buddy? I'm fine.
Are you with our group?
No, ma'am, I'm with the economy tour.
when it came time, so obviously this one won the Battle of the Bonds because it was more successful.
Preset for a 4-hour delay. Set time for the explosion here. To activate, insert.
Let me go, damn it! There's a bomb in there! Let me go!
Now? Thank you very much. You did a great job, sir.
Where was Kamal going? Back to India.
Yeah, Roger was looking a little old now. And if you asked me, this would have served as a great finale for him. This go out on a high note. A lot of people liked Octopussy, and it was a good film to end on, I think. Unfortunately, 1985 comes around, and they say, Roger, can you do one more? Roger Moore. And so he does, and he comes back in A View to a Kill. Now, A View to a Kill has a couple things going for it. First of all, one heck of a theme song done by Duran Duran. Love that song. You hear that on the radio sometimes, and it is so darn good. Also, wow, what a villain in the form of the ever-popular Christopher Walken. Yes, Christopher Walken was a Bond villain. And his plot in this film is to basically take over Silicon Valley. He wants to take it over, put a new, blow it up and computerize it and take it over, stuff like that. And who's gonna go up against him? Well, James Bond. And his henchman in this, henchman, is Mayday, played by Grace Jones. Who, wow. But there he is. There's James Bond, folks. Roger Moore. So what happened initially was he went through a little nip and tuck in between Octopussy and A View to a Kill, and that's why he looks the way he does in this movie. And who is he getting together with in this film? We have good Lord, I'm blanking on her name. Tanya Roberts, thank you. Tanya Roberts, who just did die.
Yeah, for real.
For real this time, yeah. And she plays, oh in my opinion, the most annoying Bond girl, Stacy, because she just yells and yells and yells. But what else does this film have to offer? Some great chase scenes in San Francisco. We have some fun explosion scenes and some fun fight scenes on a blimp. And also, you can play a fun game in this movie. Try to spot Roger's stuntman. So, with all that being said, how do we feel about it?
Okay. I will say this before I get into all the crap I'm about to put on this. The main theme.
Be a little nice.
The main theme is amazing.
Yes.
Probably one of, if not my favorite Bond theme. The rest of the film is hot garbage. I mean, let's face it. Okay, so Stacy, I'll be honest, Tanya Roberts is pretty hot. I think she's really...
She's not my cup of tea.
She is actually, like, you know, as annoying as she is, I mean... keep her mouth shut. She's even hotter. But I think Grace Jones was an excellent henchwoman.
Really?
I don't know about being in bed with Bond, but...
That's uncomfortable, yeah. That
I
was
don't
an
know
uncomfortable
about being
scene.
in bed with Bond or my...
Keep your guard up higher and retain your balance.
I mean, personally, I liked her as a henchwoman. She was good. She reminded me of, she was like a really kick-ass one. And I also didn't mind, this was her first film.
Push! Push! Jump! I have to hold the brake off! Jump! Death or infamy! Mayday! Jump!
Only seconds to go.
Mayday, jump!
Mayday.
Jenny Flex.
Oh yes, Jenny Flex, yes.
Yeah, who became an Indiana Jones girl.
That's right.
She was beautiful. Maybe not so much in View to a Kill, but...
Classic Bond.
I will say this. A View to a Kill, it's not from A View to a Kill, as Octopussy misleadingly told us.
Yes.
But overall, oh my God, he's too old. Moneypenny's too old. They're the same age.
Come on, Fluke! Move your ass! Who's number one? The grey with him?
That's Pegasus, Zorin's horse.
Oh!
Moneypenny, be a darling, would you, and collect that for me? And I'll buy you dinner when we get back.
I mean, I did like the symbolic, ending where James Bond literally throws in the towel, but at the end of the film. But
oh, is that what that meant?
He's in a shower with Stacy, lucky guy, and then Q has this robot trying to spy on them because they think he's dead, and then he throws a towel on the robot. He's throwing in the towel.
I had no idea that's what that meant.
Also, I love Christopher Walken, no disrespect, but
absolutely,
this was the wrong role for him.
I mean, if you want a hammy Bond villain, which there are tons of them out there, this is the guy to definitely play that role.
Of course.
James!
But yeah, I watched this just not too long ago, and I'm watching it, and I'm saying to myself, it could be so much better. It could be so much better, but I say the music's great, the villain's fun, Roger's doing his best, and there are some good lines in there here and there.
Well, actually, Captain, I'm with the British Secret Service. The name is Bond. James Bond.
Is he?
Are you?
Yes.
And I'm Dick Tracy, and you're still under arrest.
But it's in the bottom 3 Bond films.
Oh, absolutely.
It's in the bottom 3. I mean, and I will say this, another thing, it's you said something about Spot, the stunt
Spot
double.
the stuntman.
He also is a stunt double for running because he thinks he looks stupid running. Because,
Yes, I just found that out. So in later films, I think around Octopussy and this one for sure, he had a stunt double for running. You're playing James Bond.
Yeah.
But anyway, so was this a great finale for Roger Moore?
No.
Not so much. Again, in my opinion, I will always love Roger. He is, in my opinion, still the best Bond because of the way he just says those lines and does a lot of those scenes. He is a great Bond. He is always in my heart, and he is truly missed, I think.
Yeah, honestly, good for you for not being Lazenby. That's all I'll say.
Until we dance into the fire, that fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire, to fatal sounds of broken dreams. Dance into the fire, that fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire, when all we see is the view to a kill.
Anyway, still, nobody does it better than him for me.
Nope.
They knew that since this didn't end well, and because Roger was now gone, audience still got used to him. They did like his performances, and they said, okay, we gotta recast him first of all, and then how are we gonna ease this new guy in? Well, they finally got one guy who they were trying to get all the way back in '69 with Lazenby. They got one guy finally, all the way from back then, to say yes. That man was named Timothy Dalton. Now, Timothy Dalton is a diehard Bond fan of the books. He's read all the books, and he knows how to take Bond in a serious route. And so what he brings to the table is 2 new films, starting with 1987's The Living Daylights. Now, The Living Daylights is that ease-in film for Dalton. Here he is doing his gun barrel, and I say it's an ease-in one because the producers were trying to say, well, we gotta include the humor in there, but we also want to make it serious the way Dalton wants it. Now, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. But for me, and a lot of people, I know some fans, talking to you, Chris, at the bookstore, don't like Dalton. But, dare I say, he puts in a heck of a performance in these films, starting with Living Daylights. Here we have, again, another confusing villain plot. We have, like, one villain who wants to do an opium deal in Afghanistan, but he's also working with the Russians. It gets confusing.
They go on every single continent.
Every single continent, yeah. But we also have new Bond girl, Cara Malovi, played by Maram Dabo. We have a couple different villains. Yorgi, played, I forget his name, who plays him, but I will make sure to make a note of that. And even Joe Don Baker makes his first Bond appearance. And another kickin' theme song done by, you're gonna love this, folks, done by the band Aha. Yes, the band that you always hear. That band did the theme song to James Bond, The Living Daylights.
Whoever was relevant at the time, basically. That's basically every Bond theme. Whoever is the most relevant singer, they usually get that.
Sure.
And
This is also John Barry's final James Bond composition, and he actually makes his one and only Bond cameo as a, what? Conductor in an orchestra. How cute. So tell us about The Living Daylights. Do you like, first of all, tell us about Timothy Dalton and then The Living Daylights.
I absolutely love The Living Daylights. I love both of Dalton's films. I
Same
think
here.
Dalton is a criminal. Most people will agree with me. Dalton is a criminally underrated James Bond.
Agreed.
People back in the people who grew up in the 70s kind of, they usually look at Sean Connery as, oh, he was the one who set the precedence. He's great.
Sure.
They have a soft spot for Roger Moore because they grew up with him.
Sure.
They don't know who the hell, what's his name is.
No, they don't.
And all these people all say, when I say Timothy Dalton, they're all like, oh, no.
But only I could find a real man.
I need to use your phone. Should call you back.
Who are you?
Bond, James Bond. Exercise Control 007 here. I'll report in an hour.
Won't you join me?
Better make that 2.
But Timothy Dalton's great.
He really is.
I love Timothy Dalton's probably the third best James Bond.
Agreed. That's where I put him too,
The
actually.
third best.
Let's not go there yet. Let's stay on Living Daylights.
Yeah, let's not go there. But, you know, I could go on and on. But with Living Daylights, I love Timothy Dalton. I will say this, though, speaking as a guy, I would say he was probably the ugliest Bond, in my personal opinion. But
What's the matter?
Bad accident back there.
Did you hear?
actually, I do want to briefly talk about the casting for Living Daylights,
Sure.
because it was very, very interesting. So when he was 22 back in 1969, as you said, they tried to get him, and he wisely said that he was too young for the role.
Yes, that's correct.
They tried getting him again years later. He said, I think I'm still too young.
Correct.
They tried again at some other time, I think, but I think he was busy with something else. But for Living Daylights, he said, I'm too busy. So they tried to get, and I just mentioned him, Pierce Brosnan for the role. They tried to get him back in 1987. Unfortunately, he was still doing Remington Steele, and he was going to take it because he didn't think Remington Steele was going to be renewed. However, it did get renewed, and so he said, I can't do it anymore because it just got renewed, so I got to go back. And then at that time, coincidentally, Dalton's like, oh, I'm free now. And they're like, okay, let's take him.
And also, Sam Neill from Jurassic Park was in the mix there during that time.
Yep, as was Mel Gibson.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was, they said that because he was not, I mean, I could see him being Bond, but I can't see him now.
No, thank you, there's a screen test, very small one, of Sam Neill, so check that out if you want to check that out. But
Ask Records to monitor Czech publication and news services for me. See if they can find any mention of a woman cellist at the Conservatoire in Bratislava.
I didn't know you were such a music lover, James. Anytime you want to drop by and listen to my Barry Manilow collection.
I like The Living Daylights a lot. I mean, the chemistry between Dalton and Kara, Marim Dabo, is very good. A lot of people would say she's annoying, like Stacy was, because she gets a little clumsy and hits the wrong button and stuff like that. But
You were fantastic. We're free.
Kara, we're inside a Russian airbase in the middle of Afghanistan. I'll try the small key.
At least we're together.
Terrific. Come on.
I think that she is really, really talented, and
No more.
This one.
What's wrong? Why do we stop?
I arranged it. We could be here all night. Don't think. Just let it happen.
I like a lot of the scenes where she has her cello. The cello is the key part of this movie. And a great scene is when they're sledding down in the cello case and away from the villains. That's a great scene. I love that.
And Daniel, there's a lot less sex in his Bonds because the AIDS epidemic was going on, and they decided, let's make Bond be careful. Because,
you know, you're actually absolutely correct about why that was the reason. Yeah, no, that's exactly the reason why. Because, you know, as uncomfortable some of the scenes were in A View to a Kill with Roger Moore, you know, he's still James Bond. He still has to do everything that you expect him to do. But yeah, no, it's very much toned down. Do they kiss and stuff like that? Sure, but yeah, it was very much toned down for this film for that reason. So that is very interesting. But
You didn't think I'd miss this performance, did you?
If there was a man I could dream of, I'd dream about a dream come true.
So yeah, The Living Daylights was a great, great introduction for Dalton. I dare say maybe he should have started in A View to a Kill, because it was a little bit much more his territory. But you know,
nah, it was too hammy.
Too hammy, okay. But they still thought, well, Living Daylights was still too light. Still, you know, it's toned down and it's darker, or actually not darker, but more serious. But we want to make it even more serious.
Stay where you are. Get down on your knees. Put your hands behind your back.
So, come 1989, the best year for films, I say sometimes, and we get the most serious, the most dark, and the most toned-down Bond film to that date, 1989's License to Kill. Now, I am going to make a bold statement here. First of all, I love this. First of all, I love this teaser trailer. Second of all, I freaking love License to Kill. I'm sorry, it's so darn good.
I love it.
So, I pitched it as a more serious and more toned down and darker Bond film. It is, but they knew how to keep that formula alive so that you still would know you're watching a good old-fashioned Bond film. Great Bond girls in the form of Talisa Soto, I believe her name is, who plays Lupi. Carrie Lowell as Pam Bouvier, gorgeous.
Yep, she eventually went on to Law and Order.
That's right. And heck of a Bond villain played by Robert Davi, Fran Sanchez. And now again, does Dalton order a martini? Yes, he does. Does he drink it? Yes, he does. Does he make out with the girls? Yes, he does. Does he have puns? Yes, he does. Does he have great action scenes and gadgets? Yes, he does. The formula is there. It's still a great Bond film. And one of the best scores ever done by Michael Kamen, I think. And an okay Bond theme done by the ever-popular Gladys Knight.
I loved that theme. I mean, I thought she was great, and And the other thing about License to Kill, it's a lot more serious. First PG-13 rated Bond.
Yep. The plot is basically a drug dealing. He's Sanchez is a drug lord.
We all make mistakes. Your escapades are getting more creative.
Por favor, Franz.
Not a word.
Bolt your door.
Who whipped you?
Sanchez?
It was my fault. I did something wrong, made him angry.
Well, they almost. Oh yeah, and also Bond goes rogue.
Bond goes rogue.
He doesn't. He's not taking any orders from his superior. Now, usually he'd go a little bit off, but this time he's full on. Like, I'm not taking orders from my boss now.
This private vendetta of yours could easily compromise Her Majesty's government. You have an assignment, and I expect you to carry it out objectively and professionally.
Then you have my resignation, sir.
We're not a country club, 007. Effective immediately. Your license to kill is revoked, and I require you to hand over your weapon. Now.
Farewell to arms.
Too many people.
The thing about this movie is that it was the first, you know, the plots have deviated from the titles of Fleming's books, but this was the first full-on, not to even have a title coincide with Fleming's books. It just was called License to Kill. And it was originally going to be called License Revoked, because in the film, Bond gets his license to kill revoked.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes him, that's what gets him to go rogue.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the English and the British there didn't think the Americans knew what revoked meant. So they decided to call it License to Kill.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit insulting.
Yeah.
But,
Take the load.
you know, we've had drug dealings before in the past with Bond films. You know, it's like when a villain takes over the world. We've had that before. Yeah. Do you think that having that be bigger in this film and have it be a more prominent point was a good idea?
Yeah, I think it was a step in the right direction, and it really set the precedent for the Bond films in the future and today. You know, set the precedent for Brosnan and for Craig, and
for people who like Craig. Sorry, for people who like Craig out there. Now, I'm not a Craig fan, but for people who do like Craig, would you say, hey, why don't you give Dalton a chance, especially this one?
Oh, absolutely. This one is definitely, I mean, I love this one. It's more serious. I mean, think about it, and I mean, spoilers ahead. you know, Felix almost dies.
Yes, Felix
and
returns.
before that, the drug dealers, they kill his newlywed wife.
Yes.
And it's just, oh my, I mean, there's a lot of serious stuff going on. And, you know, and here's the thing, but Carrie Lowell was great.
Yep.
And as was, you know, Talisa Soto.
Yep.
It's experience.
A few inches higher, it'd have been your head.
Look, I just saved your life back there. If it wasn't for me, your ass would have been nailed to the wall.
You saved my life.
Yes.
Now why don't you wait until you're asked?
Well, why don't you ask me?
But, I mean, also the drug dealer gets arrested, breaks out of prison, and then I don't know how he's able to kind of just waltz around, not, even though he's technically a fugitive at this point, but I don't know. But
You could have had everything. Don't you want to know why?
overall, excellent Bond film, and
I
it was
think
a
so.
step in the right direction.
Yeah. Unfortunately, due to contract issues, we never got another Dalton adventure. This would be his second and final film in the franchise. This was like the last Bond film for a long time, until part 3 of this series comes around.
Why don't you wait until you're asked?
So why don't you ask me?
Do you think that this was a good finale for James Bond at this point? Because we didn't know it was going to be the finale, but it turned out that way.
I mean, at the moment, yeah. I mean, I think it was definitely a great way to end it. But yeah, I think there was definitely more to come.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Oh, James, I wanted you to have something. You know the tradition? The next one who catches this is the next one who...
No. Thanks, Stella. It's time I left.
Oh, James. Did I say something wrong?
He was married once, but it was a long time ago.
Well, hey, Christy, I can't thank you again for coming on to the show. We talked a lot about some great Bond films, some not so great Bond films, but let me tell you this, out of all of these, please go watch them. You will enjoy them. For fans who have never seen a James Bond film, there are some great ones to start out with. Check out Roger Moore, he's a great guy. Check out Timothy Dalton, he's underrated. So definitely check those out. But before we leave, let's now go to our favorite game in the world. Let's go to Who Are You? All right, so Christy, you know how this game goes, obviously. You were on the radio show before, which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to play a clip. You're going to tell me who it is and or what it is from. So let's roll the clip.
We have this running bit that we do where we put each other's names in the shuttle log when we didn't actually take a shuttle out. And then when the other one finds out, it's just like, oh my God, embarrassing. I didn't take that shuttle. Ah.
Okay, so Christy, let's go over to you. Who is that, and or what is it from?
I mean, knowing you, it's Seth MacFarlane, The Orville.
And you know, our tech guru, wizard, man of the hour, Matt also said Seth MacFarlane, but he said Family Guy, because he's saying it's the Star Wars thing from Family Guy. But let's see, is it Seth MacFarlane from something?
We have this running bit that we do.
It's Seth MacFarlane from The Orville, yes!
When we didn't actually take a shuttle out.
Honestly, one of my all-time favorite Seth MacFarlane projects. This is one of two that I support him on, that and his singing career. But yeah, no, Seth MacFarlane from The Orville, which has its new season on right now, so check that out. That's pretty cool. Christy, thank you again for coming on.
Glad to be here.
I do want to give you a quick plug. You actually just helped out on a TV show. What was that?
That was America's Test Kitchen: The Next Generation. It'll be premiering early 2023.
Look at you, look at you. Well, hey, give them my number. Let them know I'm free, okay? If you love James Bond, I want to give a quick shout out for Calvin Dyson, Bond Reviewer on YouTube. He does a lot of great Bond stuff. Also to the Bond Bulletin YouTube channel, which is going to be doing a 60th anniversary documentary featuring some sound bites from me. So how cool is that? Also, if you want some more weird Bond stuff, I am actually writing a series of books called the 007 Soletti Missions, which are a series of books starring James Bond and his American sidekick, 00 Soletti. They're really fun. I've done audiobooks. They're all on the YouTube channel. And my name is Dan Soletti. Until part 3 of James Bond, that is a wrap.
If you're looking for trouble, well, you better